Meg Moon.
Meg Moon Tower.
She sleeps underneath me because I am her top.
Clip it. Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cloud Sheet Podcast. My name is Mat Landry, and in this 43rd and 44th episode, I'm here with the Beaches. Though the podcast, we discuss their recent success, origin story, TikTok, Blame My Ex, the album and the tour, being on the road, and much more. We also play the producer's game.
Oh, no.
Thanks for listening.
Hi. Hello.
Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the Cloud Machine Podcast. For those who are new to the podcast, Cloud Machine is about the music industry and its stakeholders, meaning everybody that works in it, lives it, loves it, and surrounds it. Our goal is to shine a light on roles, people, and realities of the music industry that are often forgotten or taken for granted. Whether you're someone that's dreaming about making a move in the industry, have some songs recorded, and don't know what to do with them, or just a listener that wants to learn more, you're at the right place. This week, I have the immense pleasure of welcoming the Beaches to the podcast. Recently, Eightspace has had the opportunity and honor to work on their live show for the Blame My Ex record. Now on tour, I'm very excited to call them my friends and have them on the podcast to chat. Of course, this will be a two-parter episode, so please bear with the division of the episode. Probably our most chaotic episode yet. Hello, how are you?
Hi. Hi, Matt.
That's my friend Matt.
Ready to bring the chaos.
And
That's our friend,
I
Matt.
just saved his number today.
I just spelled your name right on my phone. Didn't know there was only one Matt.
I just saw your toes today.
We were by the pool today, and I was locked out of the pool, and I texted Leandra saying, yo.
Well, first you phoned me, and I declined it.
Yeah. Because it was a Sudbury number.
I don't know a soul from Sudbury.
and then I text yo, and then right by the pool, we're standing right beside each other. You text me, hi, who's this? I'm like, I turn to you, and you say, and then I say, it's me.
That's pretty
Anyway.
I was so embarrassed. I was giving Jordan.
That is.
I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
my
I
God.
didn't save a single number in your
I had
phone.
his number saved. You didn't even have
Spelled
it
his
saved.
name
She
wrong.
did.
I just got
I've
your name
had
wrong.
Matt's number. I have his like whole image. Like I saved his no, you know, no.
I've stolen his whole image.
Whoa.
Look at my
Pictures
jean
of you.
jacket.
when it imports your like photo that you have on your iPhone,
Yeah.
I did that. I clicked import, and it's like a microphone. Like I think it's your podcast thing. Maybe not.
Oh, weird.
I don't know. It's a little
Maybe.
little
Mine
photo.
didn't give me that option. It said block caller.
Well, I
said immediately.
Sudbury? Yikes.
For the longest time, the Elio managers had me as Lynn Dupuis, which is my mom's name. Like they had my the Apple. I guess we shared Apple IDs for a long time.
Yeah, that's
And-
like me and my dad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He got all of her nudes. True story.
It is true.
Anyway, I've also never done anything like this, which is like a full band interview, and I have to scratch that because Eliza's not here. I wanted to highlight that at the beginning.
She has a headache. She's not feeling well,
Yes.
but she'll be back for a drummer on
Around
drummer.
two.
Yeah.
I assume that's what the part 2 is for.
No, this is
That's a part 3.
Yeah, it's a part 3 of the Beaches.
Part 3. Got
And
it.
actually, coming into this tour, I thought there was only going to be 2 parts of the Beaches, but we had Meg, who's in the room right now, Meg Moon.
Meg Moon Tower.
Meg Moon Tower.
We had her on last week. Please make sure to check that out if you haven't. Yeah, so I've never done anything like this, like a full like band thing. So we're gonna go through it together.
Let's do
Yeah.
it.
Never in a Delta hotel, I bet.
No.
You know what? We'll be there for each other through this. We'll hold each other's hands.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, not at the Delta Hotel in Edmonton.
No, the
AO.
South Conference Center, Edmonton.
320
Delta.
326.
326, baby.
We won't be
Area
here,
code.
so it's okay.
Let's start the pod. I might have to cut some of that.
Yeah.
But let's start the pod how we always start the pod for the listeners. As a fan or a show goer, do y'all have a favorite live experience?
Should I go first?
Go ahead.
I have 2 that come to mind. The
Yeah.
first that comes to mind is when I was, I think it was my first time playing Osheaga with, my mom was watching with me, and I saw Nick Cave in the Bad Seeds for the first time, and he was playing the main stage right after Haim, and I was like, who the fuck is going after them? Like, I don't know this guy at all. I was just like, you know.
I love that you bleeped yourself.
I know.
Yeah, you can swear on this.
Okay. Who the fuck is this guy? This weird, creepy vampire fucker with like a 6 head and dyed black hair who looks like a zombie Elvis. And he's Australian, so I'd never heard of him before. And I wasn't, frankly, cool enough to know who he was. But honestly, like that performance changed my life in a couple ways. Like I think I watched him perform in the way he held his eye contact with certain members of the audience, which I have a very difficult time doing when I'm just chatting with people in general. But his intensity of his performance, like it left something in me, and it made me want to basically do that for the rest of my life, the performance that he gave. The other time was when we were in Glasgow. We were watching was Royal Blood and Albert Hammond Jr. and it was a Fat White Family show. And it was my first time ever like properly moshing in England, which is like a whole different experience. I think Eliza. Huh?
So you said Glasgow, so it was in Scotland.
You're right, that's right. Thank you, Leandra.
Leandra with the fact check.
Wow,
Yeah.
I'm Scottish. Can't disrespect us like that.
Sorry, it was in Scotland. And the lead singer was also very just strange and surreal. He rubbed a full jar of mayonnaise on himself and was basically naked. And again, would like lock eye contact with you for a solid minute and a half. I think.
Whoa.
Room service.
Booze is here. And it was just startling and shocking. And I was like, I didn't really realize like that you could do that when you were performing.
Like spread mayo on yourself?
No, just be
while walking.
Just be so surreal and so strange. And I've always been like a bit of a strange person. So
right.
Well, I think he brought like an aspect of like performance art into the show that a lot of people we never seen that before.
Do you need a credit card? Okay.
Nope.
So we're taking a pause here because there's some room service happening via Meg.
Yay! Thank you.
Close it.
Oh, all right, everybody. It's an explicit podcast this week. Yo.
There you go.
Cheers. Not yet. We'll get there.
Sorry. I'll continue with it once.
Let's Meg serves me my
Oh
wine.
my gosh. Cheers. Oh my goodness.
What is that Slurpee cup?
Is that ice?
Oh, I would love a lime.
Wow.
Thank you. Megala, help yourself to the...
You call her Megala?
She didn't
Yeah.
say Megala. She said
I've been
Megala.
calling Megala. Like a
No,
Regala.
you.
You never heard Regala before?
Megala.
Megala?
Matt, do you want a lime?
Sure.
You like it? Oh, okay. Everyone deserves their own Georgie nickname. Okay, now everyone has their booze. Hell yeah.
We do.
Yeah, no, I think it was the first time I'd ever really considered. Well, I just for some extra context, I used to really want to be in musical theater. So I was always really attracted to how you can sort of take elements of drama and dance and performance art into and put it into at least like a rock show performance.
Totally.
So, you know, this was sort of a way of bringing in drama that also seemed cool and not necessarily theatrical, but theatrical in a different way. I don't know how to exactly explain it like that. And I've been like trying to find my own version of that as a performer ever since.
Yeah.
There you go. There's my long-winded story.
I love it.
Just a note on Nick Cave.
Yeah.
I thought you had a Nick Cave tattoo on your...
No, I know.
Is it Nick Cave or no? It's Nick Cage.
So here's the thing.
It's Nick Cage.
I spelt it wrong.
It could be either a Nick Cage or it could be a Nick Cave if you take out the G and replace it with a B. Or
I mean,
You
yeah.
get some laser tattoo removal. It
But
could be
I
either.
like both Nick Cage and Nick Cave, so I'm keeping it as the typo.
If you had to pick one,
All right.
Nick Cage.
Nick. No, Nick Cage.
Yeah, I still love
Yeah.
Nick Cage more. Sorry, Nick Cave. But yeah. All right.
Okay,
Leandra, you
Kylie's
go.
turn.
My turn. Okay, so I won't pick two.
Yeah, that's too much.
It's a lot. But I'm going to pick one that comes to mind. In Toronto, there used to be this event that would happen called House of Strombo, and it was George Strombolopoulos's, which is a hard word for me to say with my lisp. His
One time I
house.
broke a tooth there.
Yeah, and one time I had my period so bad. I cried in the washroom to Leandra, and I said, "How did we get out of here?" Anyways, there were these really cool concerts that happened in his living room in his house, and we got to see so many huge artists in literally his living room, and it was such a crazy thing as like an up and coming band to be able to experience some of our like favorite artists live for the first time. And when I think about like going to concerts and all that stuff, like as like a young 20-year-old person, like those concerts really have like burned a place in my mind. Like we saw the Kills there, we saw the late Charles Bradley, we saw Dinosaur Jr., like some of our like heroes in like such a small space, and Mac DeMarco.
Yeah, like in a living room.
In a living room.
You open his door, you go up the stairs, and they're right there.
And it was such a cool thing, and to be included as like a young artist, like to be brought into the mix, it was like such a cool atmosphere to be a part of, and definitely super inspiring. So those are some of my favorite like live music performances that I can recall going to in the past couple years for sure.
Yeah.
I'm drawing a blank, and I've been to so many shows. I go to so many shows. The Jonas Brothers.
I mean,
no,
Please
I mean,
don't say the Jonas Brothers
no,
are
Noah
your favorite
Cyrus.
concert.
I love Noah Cyrus. Yeah, but for like an influential moment, like I will always remember the early days of going to Avril Lavigne's shows.
Yeah,
that's when I was like a kid, and in the height of my like, I just want to play electric guitar, and I want to learn how to drum and play piano. And she was like, I mean, she's pop, but for me as like an 8-year-old, she was like a rock star to me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like she's the coolest thing on earth. I was in awe. It made me just want to be doing what she was doing. And I will always talk about her shows. Like it just, there's not a lot of people who did what she did for young girls.
Yeah. Do you remember like one show in particular?
I would say like it was my first concert ever, and I think I was in grade 4 or grade 5. My mom gave me tickets for my birthday, and she brought me and my sister. My sister fell asleep, but she would have been 4, so that's fair. It's fair. But it just like playing all the hits. I was obsessed. I only listened to Avril, and she played piano, guitar, drums, singing, just like running across the stage, and she wasn't like a femme pop star.
Right.
Which I identified with because I was a little tomboy. And I was like, this is so cool that you can be this massive and mainstream and dress like that.
Yeah,
in jeans and like an army shirt.
Yeah.
Totally.
It changed my life.
Yeah. Going to the second question, which is, there's a little bit of context here. So over the course of the last year, we've been exploring the quote by Erykah Badu that says, music and music business are two different things. Just in general, just because this is a music business podcast, and I say I put the quotes there just because I like to talk about music business, but it's like a large scope in regards to, yes, there's music business, but there's also photographers like Meg that come on the podcast to talk about their experience in the industry and stuff like that. What are your first instincts when you hear that music and music business are two different things?
I mean, it's true in a sense. It feels like there's some aspects of the business after being in this band for so many years that are kind of like disheartening at times, and it can be honestly kind of frustrating.
Yeah.
It feels like luckily now we've had like such great success, and it's been like amazing, and we're so grateful for it. But when you're like a band who's trying for like so long and to not kind of see the like wheels starting to turn, it's like really kind of frustrating and disheartening.
Yeah. What do you mean by wheels starting to turn?
You know, just like having things pick up and having like,
yeah, you
know, see like movement and see like numbers kind of like spike and stuff, and being someone who's like involved with the business side of it and not seeing that for so long, it's like,
yeah,
it's frustrating to kind of like try and keep it going and try and keep pursuing.
I think they go hand in hand, music and music business, and I know you're more a business daddy, but I think you create the music and then it's on you to promote it, and then it kind of goes into the business territory of behind the scenes.
That's what I was gonna say. I was wondering if like the context of that quote was like, music is only just a small part of the music business. Like, is that because like is she speaking as a songwriter, or is it more just like? Because like I think as a songwriter it can be a little bit disheartening when you realize like it's not just about making the song, that there's a whole other level of things you have to do.
I think what it means, what she's trying, like the quote what it's standing for is that there are a bunch of other people. As an artist, you're putting out this work. There are a bunch of other people that you like bring them work. Like you're occupying so many people.
Yeah.
And that's like,
I get that. And that can be scary, especially, I don't know how you guys feel as like as members of the band in context to what you just said, but as a singer, when I'm like touring and I'm nervous about my voice, there's a lot of like pressure when you realize like that there's a bunch of different people's salaries that are reliant on you and your voice.
Interesting, yeah.
Being okay. And that can be like really scary knowing that like, but it also can be so fulfilling and so humbling knowing that with like the music that you're making and like the silly songs that you are writing, you are supporting and feeding people's families and, you know, paying people's rent. It is like, it's scary, but it's also so humbling and wonderful. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Can I ask at what point of you're writing the music or recording a record where you start thinking about the business aspect of a record?
That's the thing. This is sort of like one of the first, well, we're fully independent now.
Sure, yeah.
So you're thinking about it from the beginning because you're paying for it, right?
It definitely has, being independent has put a lot of that way more into perspective. It's like we don't have a label to do
It's okay.
our like our radio, and every single piece of like,
I mean, now we do, no?
pardon,
Now we do.
AWOL, yeah, that's a distribution thing, but still, I mean, it's like, I think getting dropped and then having to kind of start over from scratch, it really put into perspective like how many roles play a part with like how a record gets made and gets promoted and gets marketed and like all that stuff. It's like, it became very evident that it's like there's a lot of moving pieces here.
When you're independent, it is your business. Everything is your choice and up to you.
I mean, even like
Even when you're signed, you should always
it should be that way.
know what's going on with your band.
Very specifically
Absolutely.
is when you're holding the purse.
Yeah. Where do you think the music industry is going now? Moving forward, it's a big question. I know it's a big
huge
question.
AI scares me.
Yeah.
Saw
AI.
4 commercials
scary.
today.
I think it's tough to say. I think that like we see like so many really, really cool. I mean, I can't really speak on like pop, like super pop, TikTok, whatever, but I think that the rock music genre is really moving into like a really good spot. I'm really happy to see like a lot more like female artists being represented. Like it feels like it's shifting from like just being like a straight white cis male place
Totally.
to dominate, and having like more stories be shared that aren't really like through that gaze is like really great to see. I don't know. I think that it's challenging also when like record labels are really only spending money on like buying catalogs and all this stuff. It's like it's really hard for like up and coming artists, and I feel like if you don't have a good team and good people around you, it's like really overwhelming and like a little bit scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what I would do without them. Truly.
Yeah.
Trying to start now at this time, it would be really hard. Luckily, we have 10 years of experience behind us.
Yes.
where we can navigate it, but
But I think the strength of social media gives hope to artists starting out, where you can go on TikTok or on Instagram Reels and be discovered there or kind of gain a following there. Whereas when we were starting, we were just like playing shows
yeah.
on Wednesday nights at midnight, hoping someone would come see us. Now there's like a whole new world and way of like opening yourself up to opportunity, which is cool.
I'd say my one qualm just specifically has to do with like the way songs are constructed nowadays, like that they're getting sort of shorter and shorter.
Yeah,
And
sure.
because people are so much more cognizant of what's doing well on the algorithm, there's a little bit less creative freedom. But I also sort of have a suspicion that that's going to change as the pendulum sort of swings the other way. Like I have a feeling like longer songs will come back into trend.
Yeah. You see some concerts where people are only screaming those 30 seconds that they heard on TikTok, but the rest of the 45-minute set or whatever, they're like, okay, like what's happening right now?
That's the one thing that scares
Are
me.
you talking? Is that our show?
No,
not at all. Not at all.
No,
I'm
Steve
actually
said something about it.
And I'll say it. And I'll say it. It's like that.
happen.
It's that artist that was like that ABCDEFU song.
Yeah.
Specifically that one that I'm thinking about right now. Not to.
Now here's the thing.
Slander.
If you're an artist and you do go viral, but you also have like a really good album to back it up with, you're going to be in good hands. But my worry
That's
is
why you can't just bank on going viral.
That's what I'm
You need to
saying.
focus on everything
Well,
else.
that's what I'm
Which
saying.
was my fear going into this tour of like, let's blame Brett has to be, spoiler alert, the last song, because what if people hear it early on and leave and don't want it? But
Right.
the new young fans that we have made through Blame Brett are there for the whole set, and they're singing along to all of our old songs, which is so cool.
Yeah,
And-
because we have a good package of music too, which is important.
Good.
And people have been doing that forever anyway.
Yeah.
Like they've always had their biggest song at the end. Of the set. So yeah, it's great. Not to get too into the origin story of the Beaches, because it's been told so many times, and I know y'all are you've said the story so many times.
It's okay. It's okay. Maybe you guys haven't heard it.
But so just overall, where did you grow up, and how was your creative upbringing where you grew up? The creative upbringing in regards to the home, were your parents creative? How was that like dynamic in regards to that?
Well, Jordan and I are sisters.
Yes.
Shocker.
And we started playing guitar together when we were 6 and 7 years old.
Yeah, I switched to bass because Kylie was surpassing me as a player. I'm a very competitive sibling. I'm okay.
She bonked. She bonked.
Bonked.
But our lovely guitar teacher, now our tour manager, James Quinn, we all work with him. He got us into songwriting at a really young age. And yeah, we've just kind of been involved with that ever since that age. Like, it kind of took off at like a really, really young age, which was really kind of awesome because it allowed us to start like
treating this as a profession from an early age and taking it seriously.
Yeah.
Like, we didn't go to summer camp. We would go and write songs in James's like apartment and
You went
and
to summer
record
camp
them.
too?
No, we fell in Lake Ontario and we got a rash, and then we cried and we went to go record songs with James. Pretty much is what happened.
Don't make us canoe in Lake Ontario.
We made no friends at canoe camp, so that's why.
Oh my gosh.
Nepos. Anyways, yeah, that's kind of how we started. Our parents are not creative, but incredibly supportive.
My parents, they both work in advertising.
Yeah.
And
Then charming people, not very creative people.
we
Sorry, Mom
were
and Dad.
lucky enough to find a connection to this producer who lived in LA, and we started recording some of these demos, and then we're on Disney Channel for a period of time. Had the opportunity to have like a TV show and like, you know, fully do that, but we decided not to. And then we formed the Beaches with Eliza, our drummer, who we'd been in the Disney band with, and we met Leandra in high school, but her upbringing is very different than ours. She's not from our neighborhood, but she's honorary. She's honorary.
She's also the only classically trained member, but I'll let you get into that.
Well, I was gonna ask, just in regards to like even just like the influences in the home, like at the Millers,
musically,
like was there like creatively, but also just like music in the house?
I
Like
mean,
what was
my
that
parents,
like?
They always had like music playing all the time.
Sure,
I remember
yeah.
that. Like
Do you
even during
remember-
dinner and stuff, always had
Yeah.
like CDs on rotation. It was like
Shrek 2 soundtrack, Carlos Santana,
Fleetwood Mac.
the Beatles, but also like Burt Bacharach for dinner parties, which is a big throwback. And then new wave music,
Yeah,
which
like-
is
Yeah.
so funny because it's sort of tied into this record, listening to a lot of those songs. Kylie loved what was the Our House? That was your favorite one.
I think it's by Madness, or
I don't know.
is it by?
I
I know.
Cool.
Mad World.
Not Mad World. I don't know who it's by.
Our house in the middle.
Yeah.
The song from the coffee commercial.
Folgers?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that one. That was Kylie's
Absolutely.
favorite.
Lee, what about you? What was the creative upbringing for you in regards to even your parents? They were saying that you're the only classically trained one.
Yeah, again, no one is musical in my family, but I grew up with my mom had a piano that she bought when she was like 19 and started taking lessons. So I grew up at my grandparents' house and they had it there, and I always just played around on it, and I just wanted to take piano lessons from like, I don't know, I think it was like 4 or 5 asking to take piano lessons. I think when I turned 6 or 7, I started. I took lessons for 12 years. And it was classical music at first, which I hated.
Yeah.
I would not practice. I would cry. And my mom was like, okay, so quit. But I was like, no, I'm not going to quit, Mom. So the reverse psychology worked. I didn't quit. And then my piano teacher was like, well, why don't we just play music you want to learn?
Right.
So that's when I started learning like just all of Avril's catalog.
Yes.
Fell in love with playing and practicing, and then got into classical music on my own. So then I was like, okay, I want to go through the conservatory.
Yeah, like RCM stuff?
Yeah. Because when I was growing up and doing those exams, I was failing and hating them. And my mom would be like, okay, if you pass, I'll get you an electric guitar or whatever. It was just like stuff like that. I hated piano. Then I fell in love with it. Yeah. And started becoming more serious in high school and thought about going to York for classical piano.
When did you learn guitar? Sorry, I've never learned this about you before.
Probably grade 7.
Okay.
Because I was like, well, Avril plays guitar. I want to play guitar.
Sure, yeah.
And my cousin had an electric guitar, and I played that for the first time and was like, this is the coolest sound I've ever heard. Right. I want to do that.
Which cousin?
Fucking hate him.
Okay, that guy. Got it. Anyways.
We'll bleep it out. Yeah.
Don't even bleep it. I fucking hate you.
No.
I'm kidding.
Bleep. HR.
Yeah.
It's the wine.
You mentioned high school. To go by it pretty quickly, Rosedale. I say in my notes, Rosedale as an epicenter of young creatives in the city of Toronto.
It truly was. Patrick Collins represent.
I'm still very jealous of the people that got to go to Rosedale because coming from like Northern Ontario where there's like no arts funding, and it was like crazy to me to like meet these friends that like had like guitar class.
Yeah.
What?
I think I took it for granted, but also the teachers, they weren't the greatest classes, but I mean, at least they were there. So you got introduced to like photography, where we had a dark room in our
photography.
School.
Yeah, like exactly.
Schools in Toronto that had that. So,
photography, dance, like it really just the music program was lacking, but there were so many other arts programs that had a shit ton of funding. If you ask any of like the Ryerson or UFT kids, like our dark room at Rosedale is the best one in the city, and that's how we. I know I keep hitting my head. It's okay. Okay, I'm sorry.
But yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have met them without. Well, I went to your shows and met you there because I was a fan of their Disney.
Right.
But when we went to the same high schools, when we became friends.
Totally.
So thank you, Rosedale.
You also mentioned wanting to go to York. Did y'all all apply to university or post-secondary like afterwards?
Kylie got scholarships.
Ayo.
Yeah.
I did, not for music though.
Not for music. I got into.
No, I don't know how to read music, like at all.
I don't either.
I mean, you don't have to be in a band.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah. But I mean, to a point.
All aboard the Edmonton South Express.
Love trains. Sorry.
Boop, boop. No, I don't think any of us know how. But to a point. Sorry, the three you mean. Actually, Eliza knows how to read music. You and I both don't. Yeah. We're both bad. Where it's like, oh, play a G up high on the E string, and it was like, nope.
Right.
I feel like, but we can do it by ear.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how we kind of like know how to.
I have to do everything backwards. So like I'll be like, what note do you want? And they'll sing it, and they'll be like, okay, I'll find it. And
right.
And then I do know where it is, but it's going backwards. And I don't know if you've thought about this. I've thought about like relearning how to read music, but it's sort of about rewiring everything backwards.
I'm too old now.
It's too old.
You're never too old. But I mean, you don't need it for what we're doing.
No, exactly.
Only if you want to do it for yourself.
Maybe I play power chords. I'm good.
That's right.
I want to eventually. My goal is to. I left off at grade 9 RCM.
Oh wow, yeah. You're almost done.
I joined the band and then bought the grade 10 books, but then was like power chords and bloop bloop bloop, and I stopped playing piano as much. But I do want to get back to it.
Yeah. Going back to the university thing, just because I wanted to ask, like, y'all like none of y'all went to post-secondary, yeah?
No. Well,
We
We took one course.
Okay.
Our parents made us take one course so they could access our
took 3.
school funding for our siblings.
That's true.
No, I took mine to get on their dental plan.
No, we got it so we could pay for Josh's
Yeah, I
tuition.
got it for my sister.
Oh, but also to stay on the dental
The
plan.
dental plan.
Yeah.
Was
I
it
took
all at York
We
U?
all went to
No,
Ryerson.
we went to Ryerson
which
Chang
is now
School.
Toronto Metropolitan
Toronto
University.
Metropolitan University grad.
TMU.
It's
You
technically
are?
Yeah.
Wow, the 4 of us.
Yeah.
We
alma
didn't graduate.
mater.
We took one class.
We took. I
I
took
graduated
3.
one class. Does that count?
Eliza as
No.
well?
No. No.
And if she wants, we just took pop culture.
She was an only
Yeah,
child.
I took that class.
Yeah.
Oh, you could have been in our class.
We
might-
willingly
well, no.
took it. We went to the Beatles exhibit. Kylie and I, for extra credit, we tweeted a video of us singing "Lucy in the Sky with Diamonds." We
That's
were in
great.
Keeners.
Yeah,
we
we were
sat
little
beside the
suck-ups.
teacher.
What year?
2017.
2017, yeah.
You were Noah Manzi's year. Remember?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would have probably been in that class, 2017.
Really?
Yeah, it's possible. I think I took pop culture in my first year. So,
Was that your first year?
yeah.
2017.
Yeah, then it's very likely you were in the
Did
same
you take
class.
it in like the
Wait,
fall?
Diana.
What's her? Yeah, Diana Cuckoos.
Cuckoos. Diana Cuckoos.
No.
What could have been?
Miss ya, bitch.
Miss ya, you fun saucy minx.
I wanted to highlight here the beginning of the career. I say here, Kirby and parents specifically. For me, like I've always like loved the support of my parents, and I just like even being on tour with y'all over the past couple weeks, like the parents' presence is very much there, but in a positive way. Any thoughts on that?
No, we feel really lucky that our parents love to come to shows. I mean, Leanna's parents drove to Kingston, which is like almost 3 hours away, and then drove us home after the show, and that was so sweet. And
After they did 3 shows, they did Kitchener, Hamilton,
That's right.
Kingston.
yeah,
They will drive wherever to see us.
You know,
they drove me home.
in the
Little sweethearts.
in the beginning, I was really nervous that like our careers wouldn't give us like a big connection to our families because we travel so much, and we grew
Your
up.
dad was driving us everywhere, though.
I know, in the beginning, yeah, but also the other thing is like, oh, you okay?
Yeah, you can.
He hates us.
No, well, me and Kylie grew up in like a kind of semi-affluent area where like a lot of our fellow, kids our age's parents would come up to my mother in the grocery store and be like, "Oh, I heard Jordan's not going to post-secondary," and like sort of, have this very snobbish attitude towards it, which I think was very tricky for my parents in the beginning, or at least, it was like, it was tricky for me to see them sort of dealing with that kind of judgment, especially because they were always so proud of us. And so, and they believed in us. So, having them be able to attend so many shows, and my dad's going to do us a favor and drive us around Europe. He's taking time off work to do that. And we're able to spend time together and share our first tour in Europe with him.
Yep.
We're rooming together too, which is not going to be fun. But, there's multiple benefits. One, I think they've gotten to see us grow and they're so proud of us, but they also I don't know as many kids that are as close with their parents as we are, because we sort of get to share a lot of these milestones and a lot of these Canadian shows and other American shows with our parents. They get to attend and watch us.
I would say it's only brought us closer together.
Yeah.
I am best friends with my parents.
Yeah,
we love
and
them.
it's awesome because our parents get to go and visit places they've never been.
Yes.
My parents are coming to LA. Leanna's parents are going to LA to come watch us at the Troubadour, and it's just a really bonding experience. And it's also bonding for them to get to know each other better and
And I love
I'll go through
meeting
that
our
together.
fans and everything.
Yes.
They love
They love
this.
it.
And
It's
also,
so cool.
we have opened for or been connected to artists that they grew up listening
Yeah.
to, the Rolling Stones. And I'm like, that's crazy that we can, your mom was in the room when we met the Rolling Stones.
She got to watch us meet them.
Holy shit.
And we FaceTimed Elton John, and it's just our parents are, it's mind blowing. And I love that we can
Give
bring,
them that.
yeah, we can give them that.
Yeah.
It's exciting for us, but it's equally as exciting for that.
Yeah.
I share a similar experience. Well, not necessarily similar in that way, but last year I got to bring my parents to Abbey Road,
Oh.
inside the studio,
So cool.
which you know. Anyway, love the parents.
No, I love that. I went with James on a tour of Abbey Road.
Yeah.
I crossed the street with Leandra.
I made them all take a photo. They weren't too happy.
Yeah.
No, it's just because everyone else is doing it.
I cried going into Studio 2.
Oh.
Yeah. Anyway.
What a sweetie.
I wanted to also touch on like the beginning of the career, but also like very recent, like the breaking up of like the Island and Universal and stuff. Yeah. Like how maybe we don't need to talk necessarily about it.
I mean, I already was asked how many tears of joy have you cried today in an interview. How many tears of sadness have you cried? No.
Huh?
Yeah.
In an interview.
We love the European interviews.
I think where there's been a lot of adversity, but I also want to get to the eventual success of the newest record without these people, which is crazy.
Yeah. I think from high school we were signed to Island, and that was so exciting. We would go to LA on writing trips for a couple months and write with a different producer, co-writer every single day and kind of find who we were as a band and what sound we wanted. We were just trying on so many hats.
We came out with like 60 songs for context. So how many people we were writing with.
And we were so young. It was so exciting. I don't think we fully knew, and we went with more of like a rock sound. And then I think Island didn't really know what to do with that. They're like, all girl band. Are you the Runaways? Are you
Josie and the Pussycat Dolls?
Are you a full pop band? There was just like no in between.
Yeah, I feel like there's more room for it now.
Oh yeah,
there is
1,000%.
Oh God,
like then like 6 years ago or whatever.
This was almost like 8 years ago.
Sure, yeah.
So they didn't know what to do with us, so we were kind of shelved.
Yeah,
and then Universal took us on. It was very exciting. They were great to work with. I think COVID just changed things for everybody. We weren't streaming that well.
Yeah.
So things were slower. Then they started not knowing what to do with us. We didn't know what to do because we were selling tickets, but we weren't streaming.
Right.
People on TikTok were blowing up and we weren't. And just like that. When they dropped us, we felt like, what are we going to do?
It's also, the music industry is like, it's completely based on numbers. And even though we didn't sell that many units and didn't stream that well, and we were selling so many tickets, like selling out our tours, as Leander said, it's all based on like the numbers. And if you don't provide that, you're not going to be a priority. And it's not even that we got necessarily dropped. It's like just being brought to a smaller division, and like the deals weren't making sense because it's like we are selling out multiple nights at History.
Yeah.
We're selling out our entire tours, but the deal that we were like receiving wasn't like equating to what we thought that we deserved. And so we had the option to either try it ourselves or go and do something smaller. And we decided to bet on ourselves. And ultimately it was like a really scary thing to do. And then everything with management kind of just fell apart in the long run. Again, working with people for a very long time and having so much shift is very challenging. But for a while we just felt kind of out of control, honestly. And that's really what our main issue was. We had so many people telling us what to do, so many different opinions, a lot of those opinions being from like older men. Again, no offense to them. It's fine, but it's just people that we don't really relate to, and they didn't understand our vision for the project. And being able to kind of clear house and hire people who really believed in us, understood us, and could like see what value the band could bring and the potential to like reach like these young female audiences, like that's what we needed, someone to like believe in that, because that's always what we saw this project being.
I don't think people listened to us before, and now I feel like we're all listened to, even as individuals. Like I came out in the pandemic, and I, as like a young queer woman, had like all of these thoughts and feelings that weren't being heard by certain people on our team before, and I was being told how to feel and how to whatever. And now I feel like we have a team who's just so open to like everything we are as people.
Totally.
Yeah, you know, clearing house, and also being like little, like being label babies since like basically the beginning of our career, where we basically were, you know, we were beholden to another person. You give up some of your control that way, so that when that is taken away and you lose your security blanket and it is only up to you, it can be scary, but it also can be so freeing because all of the cards are in your hands, you know?
Completely. But we're really happy with like every every decision that we made. And
also we wouldn't be where we are had we not gone through the label system. Like, we're very grateful for both of those experiences.
Yeah.
Just to put that out there as well.
Totally.
But I also do think that we needed to be by ourselves to make the record that we just made.
Yeah, I mean, we had to grow. I think some people held us back, and it's taken us a long time to get here, and we've had a lot of frustration, but we're here and we've grown together, and only up from here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's a great segue into the Blame My Ex era.
Absolutely.
I love the eras.
Well, but also
the Eras tour. Stimulating the economy.
It's truly actually
one day at a time. Bead stores, they're millionaires.
If these beads could talk,
they'd say we're rich.
It is the Blame My Ex era, but it's also in my mind the Lori Lee era.
It is the Lori Lee era.
Lori Lee.
She's gonna love that.
She's gonna love that
clip of that for her.
Well, she's had a shout out over the last like 4 or 5 episodes actually.
She's what?
Meg?
Yeah. No.
About?
Well, actually, no. Without Meg, like before Meg.
With who?
Because I had Katie Tupper on. Who was sort of discovered by Lori.
Yep.
Through a Juno Connect. I had Nathan Lau on, who's connected to Lori through Alex Porat.
Yep.
All these people. They're just
it's the
connected
Lori Lee
to
continuation. The series.
It is.
You gotta get Lori Lee on here.
Oh my God!
Oh my
you do.
God.
We've texted about it.
That would be your fucking all-star segment.
Yeah.
That would be your magnum opus, Lori Lee.
Truly, she has been our saving grace.
Yeah.
Like, really,
We wouldn't be here without her.
finding
Truly.
her was like the most amazing discovery. Truly, she helped us get in contact with our producers for Blame My Ex. She put together, she understands that like there's so much talent in Canada, and her and I have spoken on this, that like I feel like a lot of artists feel like they have to go to LA or they have to go to Nashville and they need to like go somewhere else in order to put out a record. And that honestly for a lot of people does work, but there's so much talent in this country that is not like utilized.
Totally.
And it is just like so cool for us after like going to LA constantly to like come back to Toronto and work with a bunch of different people here. Not even like also the people that we ended up writing with who didn't end up, being on the record. It brought us to getting there, and it was so eye-opening to see how much talent we have to offer in Toronto.
I think Lori's also just like in general an honest person, and like that's something that it's so integral as a manager. You need to be able to be honest with the people that you're working with when it comes to like, hey, this song sounds like garbage.
Yes.
Or like, hey, this maybe isn't the right vibe for you. I think so many managers just want to please their clients in order to keep them, keep themselves fed.
Right.
But they do a disservice to both of them, like both themselves and to the people that they're trying to work for.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, not to say Lori's super harsh, but she'll tell you the truth about things.
When I was going through my breakup, I was so depressed. I said, Lori, I can't do anything today. I am in bed. And she said, you know what's so good about TikTok is you can post from bed. I said, you're so right.
She's like, oh God, I won't even tell you what she said to me during my breakup because it's so much worse.
But she's hilarious, and she knows I'm sensy, and we just have good laughs, and she's just here to work and push us to be the best, and we need that. We wouldn't be here without her.
You know, a really great manager is somebody that believes in you, but also somebody who wants to push you to put out the best work that you can.
Well, I remember our first meeting with her. She's like, it was so eye-opening because she's like, okay, so you've done so many great things, but here's what I would do. Your music needs to be better. Like, it needs to be, like, a little bit better. And
you were like, what does that mean? And she's like, I don't know, but we're going to find out.
Yeah.
But no one had the balls to tell us that.
Right.
No one was like, oh, you need to push this much.
Joel did too.
Yeah. The people that we still have on our team told us that.
Right.
It's, like, not even necessarily better is, like, a loose term, but just, like, find a way to connect with more people. And
better is probably a good term. Like the songwriting needed to be better.
Right.
That was on my end. Yeah.
It wasn't all on your end too. It was production. There were like multiple factors. It's like finding a way. She just had a vision to connect with younger audiences, and a lot of people weren't seeing that.
But it's interesting to see that like the people that told you the truth
Are the ones that
ones that are staying.
Yeah,
absolutely.
And seeing the success with y'all.
Yeah.
It's something to say about that for sure.
I'm surprised more artists don't do that,
right.
to be honest.
No, because a lot of people can't take it.
And I can see when it happens with other people, when I'm like, oof, this is not going to serve you well. And it scares me to see that. But
if I was a solo artist, I probably wouldn't be able to take it.
No,
but
I know.
I'm with my girls.
Again, I think that's the advantage of being in a band. And also maybe being a full female band too.
So Lori said this to me today, and we go, she's right. Yeah, she's right.
Not always.
Post that TikTok.
She's not always right, but she sometimes is right.
Yeah.
She respects us all individually and sees where we want this project to go. We all just share the same like dream and
values, really.
Yeah.
And she also has a really small roster, and so we feel like really
taken care of, a priority.
And we talk like every day, and we're also friends aside from her being our manager. Like we get along really, really well.
It's really important.
I think if I said to different team members in the past of like, I want an opener with like representation, a queer opener or something, I would get rude comments back. And with Lori, I just get respect, and I'm like, yo, I totally get that. Yeah. Let's find other options.
Yeah.
It's just stuff like that. She's very open and a good person.
Yeah, totally.
She gets it.
She's not only seeing the economic line, she's seeing like what our values are and what's important to us.
And she also like what's great is what we think is cool, and that being something that's important to us, she also thinks is cool. It's like, there isn't separation there where it's like trying to please us. She's like, yeah, I'm down.
I literally stole my style from her. I love her.
I've never trusted someone so much where I'm like, I used to be so anxious all the time of like, this needs to look a certain way. And like, I was involved in the merch, and like, I'm not great at creating merch, but I just felt like I have to be in everything because things are just feeling uncool. But Lori's so cool, and I trust her style, even with like show posters where she's like, is this good? I think it's so cool. And I'm like, I don't even have to check. I know it's going to be good.
Right.
Which we do check because it's our band.
We will check.
But she has good taste.
Taste, right?
Great
Meg?
taste.
Meg?
Taste is key.
Meg, why aren't you listening?
Yeah, Meg.
Meg served me wine.
Meg's doing audio.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, Meg.
Going back to the, topic 2, which is wild. Talking about the record, very general questions. When you think back to writing and the recording process of Blame My Ex, what are the first moments that you remember or think about?
Blame My Ex. Okay, the first song we did with Gus and the first song we did with Lil was Grow Up Tomorrow, which actually wasn't on Blame My Ex.
We thought about putting it on Blame My Ex, which I keep forgetting. Every time we play a show and I'm like, oh my God, people are screaming this one. It's so old. I'm like, no, we actually thought about including this on the album.
In Canada,
not his question at all.
In the US, not a hit. But that's okay.
I don't know where we are. You just poured me more wine.
No, but working with them immediately in the room, chemistry was so good. Very easy to work with them. We all really connected with Lowell. She's also like a young queer woman who we all relate to. We love her. She's funny. She's cute. She's hot. Lowell, I'll kiss ya.
I got the answer to this.
No, I think right away.
No, I'm just trying to go back to when
the first song is that what we knew what was going to happen with those two.
Everything is
boring.
But right away, the connection between us all, they're so supportive.
Right.
We've been in so many sessions where it's like, again, male driven, and you kind of listen to what they say and what parts they put on, and you're like, okay, cool, I trust you. But Lowell and Gus made us feel like we were all heard individually, and we're all in the room writing, and Jordan and Lowell would be like writing lyrics and melody, and we'd be like working on guitar stuff, and Lowell would hear and be like, that's so cool, keep working on that. And then we'd just record that. And it just was so collaborative. And I haven't felt that in years with co-writers.
It was incredibly, And I think, I can't remember why that one, because did we do Blame Brett before that one? Or was that one, was Everything Is Boring first? Because that's
Everything
the one
is, they were kind of around the same time, but
They were
Everything
the
Is
exact
Boring
same
was like,
time.
as we say, the North Star.
Yeah, we're saying,
I think that one came first, because I think we'd maybe done a couple songs together, and then we did that one. We were listening to
no, those were the 2 songs the first session we had back from
doing
After Grow Up Tomorrow. It was Everything Is Boring and Blame Brat.
Yeah.
And we did them, and then we like put that little clip on TikTok, and it blew
Of
up.
Everything Is Boring. It got like 300,000 views, which isn't necessarily viral, but for us, we'd never had anything like that. And it was all positive. Yeah. There was no negativity. Everybody was vibing, and we were like, whoa, this is wild. This is connecting.
And it was interesting. Like, we didn't necessarily start the recording process working with Lowell initially and Gus. Like, we had an idea of what we wanted to do. We were working with a bunch of different producers in the beginning, and a bunch of different writers. And some of them, like Sam Willows. I said it right. Sam Willows. We were working with him a lot too, and writing with him a lot. I think definitely like when Brett broke up with me, that was definitely like sort of a shift for like what the record was going to be.
Yeah.
Because we had written a couple songs that like Kismet and Shower Beer were predated the breakup, but most of the other songs were written after that.
Right.
But again, it's one of those moments where it's like someone comes in and tells you the truth, and like Lowell had listened to everything. She was like, I think that you guys could do better than this. And obviously, we actually all were feeling kind of the same way. So we kind of...
And I don't think we believed her till we listened to the work that we did together.
Yeah, the first couple days we were like, how dare you, Lowell? And then we were like, oh, we needed to hear this. Yeah. Let's all sit down and be honest with each other. And we really appreciate how honest Lowell was with us.
Yeah.
No, totally. And she was right. Because she did, like, there's, like, Edge of the Earth and If a Tree Falls... And I believe, is that it? Yeah, no, and Shower Beer. Like, they still all made the record. But, like, the record evolved into something that was, like, you know, the sum of all the parts together when Lowell and Gus sort of took over, I guess.
Well, just as co-producers, like, having the two of them kind of curate, and us, obviously, like, what the theme and, like, sonically how everything should, like, flow into each other so that nothing was, like, completely sticking out.
Oh.
Yeah.
It was really important to have it feel, like, still cohesive in a way. I know that there's still departures, like, within songs, but
But it was a therapeutic experience for me. I have a lot of trouble telling people how I feel, like speaking about my emotions and stuff. And so writing this record when I was going through my breakup was therapeutic, not only because I was getting the feelings up, but that I was communicating them to like the people that I loved the most in my own way.
Totally.
Which was my band, and they're literally just asking for drinks as I'm saying this really fucking nice thing.
Meg, get me a beer. Meg, get me a beer.
Thanks, Meg.
You know, and to have them listen to what I was going through and listen to like what.
Can you open the beer, Meg? Open it.
Yeah, some more.
Make a lime.
To have them listen to what I was going through and create music that resonated with my experience is very touching. Okay, I'm done.
Yeah.
Paperback ride.
Paperback ride.
Just cut all that.
Paperback ride.
As Meg gets the bottle opener,
Oh, I found it.
She's sitting on it.
It's in Jordan's tunic.
Fell deep within the tune.
What would you call that? It's a tune.
Quick shout out. Honestly, when you had your headband on today, you were giving Shay Holt's mom. And that's a compliment. Why are you looking shocked?
Shay Holt's mom.
Has Shay Holt been on the pod?
Shout out Shay
yeah,
Holt.
but she'll be on. She'll be on.
Get Shay on here next. Lori Lee and Shay. Get those two fuckers on together.
Gotta get Gus Van Gogh on the pod too.
Oh, Gussie would be good.
Meg, put it in her beer.
Which?
It's Kylie.
I'm being a saucy bitch.
I'm sorry, I burped Korean barbecue right into your face.
Meg goes through so much with us.
I do.
Oh.
I just want everyone to know this is just Kylie in the end of the treat, Meg. Though I love you guys. Is it though?
Meg Moon.
Meg
Moontar.
She sleeps underneath me because I am her top.
Clip it.
Flip it, switch it, reverse it.
Jordan sleeps on top of both of us because she is our top.
I sleep across from them because they're my equals.
She's my ally.
Yeah. Allyship.
Okay. Next question.
Moving forward.
There's two questions I want to touch on next. Talking about Gus, talking about Lowell. I saw the record recently, and y'all mentioned as well the role of a co-producer. Yeah. How are y'all approaching that? Because from my experience as someone working on the live side, I don't think I've worked with a band yet that has had like their ideas like set, like before I came in, kind of thing. So I had to just build the show and do a couple little things afterwards. But it was rare. Like I didn't necessarily need
our show.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. I just want to see like where y'all at, where y'all were at with the co-producing thing, because in my experience with y'all had your shit together before I came in. Was it the same way getting a co-producer for the record?
No. Yeah, well, I mean, so Gus was in to do like the full production for the record immediately. And then Lowell ended up we did like our main singles, Blame Brad, Everything Is Boring with her, and she just had like a very set vision for the record. Mm-hmm. So we wanted her to be a part in terms of like producing. Actually, we were calling her an executive producer for the first bit. Okay. But then it ended up really kind of involving her, where she actually was like doing a lot of the vocals and like doing a lot of the comps herself. Yeah. So it ended up evolving being into more fair to give her the title of co-producer. Yeah. And that's kind of how that shifted. But like really she was like, in terms of like the vision for everything, she was like the fifth member of the band for a lot of it. She like sings on the record. Like,
and Gus is the sixth. But
and Gus is obviously they're both they both played like very like valid, important roles, but it felt important to us to say that it was between the two of them, so that, you know, I feel like also as a woman producer in the industry, you don't get a lot of the credit that you deserve. So we wanted it to be equally shared between the two of them, and make it known that she was also like equally involved.
Yeah, they were both staying after we left and comping vocals together.
Yeah,
and
I think Matt's question more was like, did we have an idea of what we wanted the record to sound like that predated the two of them?
I don't know why you're yelling at us.
But well, I'm not. No, but
well, actually,
screaming.
From my understanding, co-producers were the Beaches as one, Gus, and Lowell. I thought there was three parts.
We're co-producers on this?
Does it say that?
Does it say that?
No, but I guess
from my understanding, that's what it was.
That's delicious.
I'm honored.
No, it's not really.
No.
No.
I mean, we all had the conversations and everything together and a lot of editing together, but I'm so thankful for the two of them.
Yeah. I think we, as a band, needed somebody to oversee things.
Totally.
I think we were in a place where we needed a bit of guidance, and they provided that. We were just so like, we had just been dropped and cleared house and our whole team, and we were like, what are we even doing anymore? And we all got in this room and got on the same page, and they really
let's make it clear, like we weren't sheep being herded at all. Like we also were in control of our own destiny.
Absolutely.
But we gave them permission to steer the ship.
Yeah.
I think
we trusted them.
We did this thing, we made a reference playlist before going in to write the record, and we had like a lot of like pop people, but then it was finding like the sonics behind it where it was like, okay, what do we want this to sound like? And it's really great to work with Lowell, like someone who's done so much writing in LA and has seen like trends. Honestly, I think Lowell's fucking like, she's a trend forecaster. She knows what's gonna hit, and she sees like how things are working. She's like, okay, pop punk dead, you know what's gonna be in? New wave. And honestly, we were like, well, we love new wave. No, not.
Are you vaping? Never seen that in my life.
Not new wave. Not Olivia Rodrigo's not pop punk. I mean, like, we're talking Machine Gun Kelly, all that. And it's not to say it's dead. Nothing is dead, but the things that are trendy, whatever. She said that this is going to be a big thing, and she ended up obviously being correct.
Well, and as somebody in the writer's room that's seeing songs that could be out in maybe months, maybe a year, She's seeing those new songs from probably a bigger, like maybe not bigger artist, but big artist in LA or something.
Totally.
That is already pushing and is at the
Yeah.
is already pushing the envelope in those bigger markets. So she might be, seeing those newer songs that people haven't heard.
Exactly.
And being like, okay, y'all should do this because these other people are doing it as well.
So having her on our side where it's like, oh, okay, this is like starting to become a thing.
Yes, yeah.
It became very clear. It was like, oh,
right.
Yeah,
but it worked because it was kind of our sound, but this much more pop and new wave. Like we were already throwing a ton of chorus on all of our.
You just had to go like this.
Yeah, totally. So I only play with a chorus pedal.
And Gus's favorite band is like he loves The Cure.
Right.
So it was perfect.
He just like is
got
like
it right
dialed
away.
into that era. So it was actually perfect having her with the pop influence, him with the new wave influence, and then us kind of in the middle being like
it was
an alt-rock
kismet,
band.
if I dare say.
It just worked out so well.
Cheers, Jordan.
You're welcome. Love to quote myself when I can.
Hey everybody, Matt from Eights here. You just listened to the Beaches Part 1 episode of the Cloud Machine podcast. We're currently in Kelowna, BC, Canada on tour. Just want to say thank you for listening to Part 1 and stay tuned for Part 2 of the Beaches Cloud Machine podcast. Next week, it gets a lot more chaotic. Thanks for listening.